Happy Monday, everybody. Today we will review Bitcoin and Ethereum only because US market is closed for the long weekend. So we'll spend time to review crypto and we'll see how things are going. And before I go further, please hit the like button. It only takes 1 second to hit the like. If you're liking the content, share with your friends and family. And if you're making money, want to thank me, you can donate. There's a PayPal link. I would really appreciate all the donations. Thank you so much. All right. So Bitcoin daily chart today it's up 1.62%. You can see this trend line. You can see this trend line, this white trend line. Bitcoin now last couple of days broke below this trend line and again now holding this trend line. It came back above this trend line, which is a good sign. You have to be, if you're a bull, this is a very good sign. This was a stop rate, came back up, and now we are in a big resistance zone. Okay, so this is a zone which Bitcoin needs to break above. If you're a bull, I'll give you a bullish scenario first. If you're a bull, you really want to go above this previous high, which is around 28,479. Bitcoin really needs to break above this high to make a higher high. So you can see what Bitcoin is doing right now. This is still a lower high. You can see low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and now Bitcoin is making, trying to make another lower high. Is this going to be another lower high? If you're a bull, you really want this to go like a really pump, like a big pump here. You let me make it green so you can see properly. You can see this trend. You can see its lower highs. You really want Bitcoin to close above this previous high, which is around 28,491. Let's say 28,500 to make a change in trend. Until that time, it's still a lower high. Okay, this high needs to go for Bitcoin to break. Okay, so that's the bullish scenario. So we will get rid of this and I'm going to tell you bearish scenario. And before I go there, let me go to 1 hour chart and show you what's happening here. Okay, this is the 1 hour chart. You see what's going on. If I zoom in, you can see in short term Bitcoin is reversing the trend. You can see this previous high. Let me here. Okay, I will show you so you can see this was a lower high, lower low, and now Bitcoin made a higher high. You can see this high, Bitcoin made a new high. So short term, Bitcoin made a change in trend and higher low, and now again a higher high. Okay, so Bitcoin can go back to this trend line and try to go break this previous 28,500, which I told you. Okay, this is another bullish scenario, but you gotta be very careful. You can see what's happening on these are momentum indicators, PPO and RSI. You can see what's happening here. You can see PPO is going lower. Also, you can see what's happening on RSI. Same thing. All right. What does that mean? You can see price is going high. So price is going higher high. This high is higher than previous high. However, PPO is losing momentum. PPO is making lower high. RSI is also making lower high. So now we have to be very, very careful. Also, we are in this big resistance box. Big, massive resistance box. It's not going to be easy for Bitcoin to go and close above this. Okay. So be very careful. If you're in profits, I will really take exits here. I will take all my profits. I will wait for this trend to change. In order to change this trend, Bitcoin needs to close above this high around 28,500. You have to wait for that to happen. This is the time to lock your profits. Actually, to be honest, this is a great short setup here. Very good short setup. So for a swing lower, again, I give you another scenarios like more data why I think this is a good short setup. You can see this confluence here. You can see this actually the whole area since March 17th, mid of March. If I extend this box, let me extend this box and then zoom in a bit. Okay, you can see, and then let me make this a bit bigger so you guys can see it. I can get rid of this Fibonacci retracements. Okay, you can see now it's clear. You can see what this is daily chart. You can see this whole area since this is a channel. Okay, this is a channel. You can see since March 17th, Bitcoin is just going up, going down, again coming back in the channel, now again back in the channel. Okay, but this is a big resistance. It was holding as support. You can see Bitcoin when it broke out, it came back, held as a support, went up again, came back, held as a support, again tried to go out, but again it eventually failed. And now this could be easily a back test of this support, which is now big resistance. This was acting as a support here, now it became a big resistance, so it could be easily a back test before breaking down. Okay, what does that mean? It could be like a breakdown, back test, and now we are going lower. Okay, that's very, very possible, so be very, very careful. Sorry, let me move this chart down. So this is quite possible, so be very, very careful here. Okay, and I show you why it's not going to be easy for Bitcoin to cross above this resistance. And I think for this year, this could be the high of this year at 31,000. It seems more likely this could be the case. I'll show you why Bitcoin is going to not be, it's not going to be easy for Bitcoin to cross it that easily. I'll give you an example. Let's quickly try to see, let's see if there's any good examples here why it's hard for Bitcoin to go above. So let's go here and see. Maybe this is a good example. Okay, this whole area here, you can see this was 2019 to let's say 2020. Okay, you can see here, this is the daily chart. When Bitcoin broke down, you can see Bitcoin broke down here, and then when I draw a box here, let's draw a box here, you can see this whole area here. You can see this whole area, and then when I extend this here, you can see when Bitcoin broke down, it was not easy for Bitcoin to go above that. Even in a bull market, this whole channel here, it takes a while. So this whole time here, since 2020 to July, sorry, this was actually April, May, June, July, 3 months. It took Bitcoin 3 months to consolidate before a breakout. Okay, so you really want to see something like this. If you are a bull, now you're back in channel. If I go back here, you really want Bitcoin to consolidate here for longer time, okay, before a breakout. Okay, now Bitcoin is going in the channel. If it can stay here, hold, collect energy. Actually, let's try to get some moving averages in so you can have some better idea. So put some moving averages here. You can see, let me get rid of this green line. You can see this this red line. This red line is 50 simple moving average. Okay, now Bitcoin is finding resistance right there, right, it's just it, and now it's selling off. Okay, it really needs to close. First task is to go above that. Second task is to make a new high here. That's what Bitcoin needs to do to be a bull. And again, let's go back to our example here. You can see what happened here. If I zoom in, let's look at that red line, the one I was showing you. You can see that red line here, this red line. Okay, you can see it was not able to close above that, and when it closed with a massive impulsive move. Okay, so this whole area, if you're a bull, you really want some consolidation here before a breakout. And even when we got a breakout, you can see this another box here. What happened here? You can see this whole area here. You can see. So what I'm trying to, again, it consolidated, broke down, again it took it, so from here, breakout, July 2020 to here, October, June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. Okay, you can see 5 months Bitcoin was just consolidating before eventually it broke out. So there is still a lot of time. There's going to be a lot of fake moves by Bitcoin. So even if it breaks out, it's going to find huge resistance here around 31,000. You can see this big resistance zone. You can see this confluence here, same thing here. So it's not going to be easy for Bitcoin to go above that. So be careful here. Okay, and if one other thing to note, if I go to futures, which I showed you before, this is the futures, Bitcoin futures. See this gap here? That's bothering me. So you can see this gap around 20,345. You got to be very careful. Bitcoin needs to close that gap. Eventually it will close it. I just don't know when. And if I go to 1 hour chart, you can see this gap here. This was created last 9th of June. Bitcoin eventually came and filled this gap. So that's an example where Bitcoin goes and fill the gap all the time. And on Ethereum, that gap is right above here. That gap is right here around 1835. So Ethereum has ways to go, but this gap will eventually be filled. Um, and also on daily chart on Ethereum, you can see this gap, same gap is around 1436. So eventually it's going to be filled from today's where we are now to that gap. It's around 17% downside, and Bitcoin from today's close to the gap is around, let's say, is around 23%. Okay, so I'm not saying it's gonna go now and fill this gap. What I'm trying to tell you is be careful. Okay, be very, very careful. Just remember, gaps are filled 90 to 95% of the time. Okay, you can see here, there was this gap. You can see how it came back to fill this gap. So it can take a while, it can come back, and especially now with the US 500 at all-time highs and the Nasdaq 100 is at all-time high. All tech stocks are at all-time high. They're setting up for a pullback. You can see they're setting up for a pullback. So that could drive Bitcoin lower. So you have to take that into account. Okay, you have to look into all the other factors, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on Bitcoin to go lower. All right. So again, back up. You can see it's on this trend line. As long as we are holding this trend line, you're good. If we break below this trend line, then be very careful. Take your stop losses here below this candle here, and if you go down, it's fine. Just wait for the gap fill, or also there's this dark blue 200 SMA line. Wait for that Bitcoin to go there. That could be a first support, little bit bounce, and then eventually go lower. I would be very, very worried on crypto right now. I will just be waiting for if we go here and fill this gap around 20,300, I will be just loading up heavily there. Okay, until that time, I'm not too interested in getting Bitcoin because I know that gap is there. Ethereum, same thing. You can see same story here on Ethereum. You can see this resistance here. I can draw it, make it a bit red here, this resistance box, and I have these two scenarios here. You can see the first scenario is playing out. It can go back to as high as 1800s. Actually, it can even go as high as that gap, which let's quickly review where that gap go. It can even go as high as that 1800 gap to fill it before it goes down. So it's here, Ethereum. You can see this gap is around 1837. It can go 1834. It can even go as high as that from today's where we are right now. It can even go as high as 5%, 6% pump to fill this gap before it goes down. So that's quite possible. And if Ethereum pumps 5%, then Bitcoin could go. It can still go in this box, the top of the box, from here to up is 4%. You can see even if Bitcoin pumps like to the top to make a new high, it's 6% pump it's required. Okay, as long as it's not above that, we are still in a downtrend. Okay, so Bitcoin can easily pump around 4-5%. That will take Ethereum to fill this gap, which is around 5.5%, and then it can go lower. Okay, so that's quite possible as well. So I won't be too excited if that happens. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you is even if from here Bitcoin goes up, fill this gap, then it can also go down. Okay, so don't get too excited if you see like a massive pump. Just have stop losses, be very, very careful in crypto, and this is the time. This is the time, like I showed you in 1 hour chart. Let's look at Ethereum's 1 hour chart and see if we have same divergences there. Or you can see Ethereum. This is a new high. Okay, no divergence on Ethereum because we haven't made a new high yet, but Bitcoin is the king and it's showing divergences. So yeah, just be careful. Okay, that's all I have, guys. And if you're still here, please hit the like button on your way out, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.